Online visibility is not luck, it's a strategy. Combine SEO, digital PR, and content distribution to grow. Visit adz.com to learn more.
This is you without Collaborator. Invisible, just another seagull. And this is you with Collaborator. Get noticed in the AI era.
Wix Studio, one end-to-end web creation platform for your agency to deliver exceptional work with absolute efficiency.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. So lovely to see you all. And I wanted to give you like a little confession that Brighton SEO and Eurovision are like my Christmas. So I'm having the best time this week, and I'm so happy for you to be with you. A bit more about me. I'm an SEO manager at Reflect Digital, and over the last year or so, I've been actively building my personal brand, appearing on multiple forums, including SEO office hours, search and stuff, and I'm so happy to be with you in Brighton. Did you know that nearly 18% or nearly 1 in 5 of all queries triggered an AI overview in July of 2025? And now I want to get some audience participation for you. So we're going to do a little brand recognition. Okay, over to you. See if you can recognize the following brands.
IKEA!
And last but not least, fantastic. I'm so proud of you. When it comes to brand, it's more than just a name or a logo. It's a symbol, one that incorporates your values and your reputation. And when it comes to AI overview and AI mode, you may already be familiar with them, but they look something like this. So an AI overview is an AI-generated summary, which is basically a synopsis of key information from several sources. And then an AI mode looks something like this, whereby you have more of an explanation of a specific topic, a summary, and one that actually suggested related follow-up questions so that you continue your journey within the AI mode. And now that these have come into play, it's important to understand the behavioral shift that this has had. And I wanted to look through that through a classic framework, so I chose to go for AIDA. So we have 4 elements of AIDA, which are attention, interest, desire, and action. And Google's AI overview and AI mode mainly come into the attention and interest stages, where they're capturing the key information in the instant synopsis, either on the top or within the AI mode, and that can then therefore reduce the clicks. But however, being cited is really key because that helps you boost that element of visibility and trust, therefore supporting the desire stage. And their influence on action, like driving conversions, is currently limited, especially for non-branded searches. We have 4 different types of search intent. So we have informational, commercial, transactional, and navigational. And when it comes to AIO, did you know that 88.1% of keywords that trigger an AIO target informational queries? Earlier today, Jack talked about 0 clicks and what impact this is having on the industry. And when it comes to informational queries, before we used to get a lot of that traffic coming through our website, and we are currently no longer receiving a lot of that traffic because the information is being synthesized in an AIO or delivered within AI mode. And the importance of a human-centric approach is really essential. So I wanted to look at this through the status quo bias. So for a bit of context, the status quo bias is a human tendency to stick to what is known and has worked before. So here we have a lovely diagram where we have 2 people pushing some stones, and then the third one is giving them an alternative of like, okay, you know, I could give you some wheels and make life easier for you. However, they're so used to doing things their own way, they're saying, nah, that looks dangerous. No bother. And similar to that, we as users are still sticking to Google. So according to data from StatCounter, 92.6% of users are still sticking to Google as their default search engine. And we also found that using the Reflect Digital Search Polls, which is a quarterly survey that we do, and we survey over 6,000 people, and within that we identified that 8 in 10 still use Google as their primary search engine, and the next best search engine after that in terms of number of people that use it from our survey is Bing at 12th position. However, social media is becoming second. Familiarity and trust are really key. So people prefer things that they are familiar with, also known as the mere exposure effect. And that consistency or consistent brand exposure can increase the feelings of trust and safety among consumers. Now, how can we stand out? Well, positive emotions linked to that familiarity can positively impact the perceived brand authority and trustworthiness. And brand trust and positive emotions are crucial to fostering confidence and encouraging engagement. Furthermore, a consistent brand presence in search results builds that familiarity and trust and leads to increased traffic and engagement. I also wanted to back this statement with some data from Advanced Web Rankings. So as you could see, for position 1, the average click-through rate for a branded position 1 is 34.92% versus non-branded is only 28.75%. And that trend is consistent across both the top 10 and the top 20. And search engines would interpret user interest as a signal of relevance and trust. Now, brand equity and user engagement are essential. So even with AI overviews present, branded keywords that trigger an AIO can experience an increase of click-through rate. Branded keywords that trigger an AIO actually experience an increase of 18.68% of click-through rate, according to data from AMSIF. And therefore, brand can simplify search. Choosing familiar brand would spare those cognitive resources and helps consumers when faced with too many choices, which is the cognitive overload. So think about it as brands that you've grown up with. Beans, it must be Heinz, and other brands that you're so familiar and so love. When people search for brands with the intention to buy, it usually indicates that they have narrowed down their options, making it easier for them to move forward with the purchase. If, for example, you're in the market for Adidas shoes, you're already going down and looking for the best price for the particular model that you've decided within that Adidas brand. And it's really important for us to be able to adapt our marketing strategy. And when it comes to this, I wanted to kind of go after an example, one that perhaps most people might be familiar with, yet a brand that started small. So Anker is a brand that started off with basically producing cables for Samsung and Apple as a cheaper alternative. And they entered through Amazon and eBay, and they were able to establish a brand and build that authority. And over time, they were able to also gain that trust and start going into power banks, vacuum cleaners, you name it, they had it. And the way they've done it is through diversifying their strategy. And like Jack said earlier, you know, it's important to make sure that you don't put your eggs in one basket. And you have so much choice when it comes to, you know, your digital marketing, and not just your digital marketing, your traditional as well. So you have organic search, paid search, email marketing, social media, PR, and of course, word of mouth. And when it comes to building that brand, it's important to make sure that growers recognize you as an entity across multitude of channels from various platforms, and all of them need to be reinforcing that same point of differentiation. And in order for you to diversify your strategy, you need to make sure that you understand where that key audience is. Again, referencing the search polls data that we have, we found that when it comes to people booking a holiday, they would default to go into a search engine, whereas they're in the discovery stage, they're more likely to use social media for their inspiration. And I also wanted to look at, okay, with this being a brand and that being so important, how can we communicate our USPs? Well, I wanted to again reference back Anker, and I decided to, okay, let's just test my theory and see what's up with Anker. And I typed into Google, what are Anchor's USPs? And I was really pleased to see that their key USPs were listed. So we have high quality products, technological innovation, brand recognition, strategic partnerships, and retail presence, global leadership in charging. And the way they've done that is that they made sure that any presence that they had online, that those USPs were listed and they were consistent. Building a brand is also about having that unified message. So Anchor went for being the world's #1 mobile charging brand. Well, are they? Let's test it. So again, I decided to actually go and put which is the world's #1 mobile charging brand across 3 different platforms. And look who came on top, Anchor. Equally, Anchor are excellent at actually looking at negative sentiment queries. So Anchor Charger is not charging. In this particular example, we have 2 results, well, the citations being the Anchor website, Just Answer, and a YouTube video. And it's important to note that Anchor were able to, in essence, gain control over that negative sentiment query by partnering with that YouTuber and making sure that the content reflects the message that they want to get across. Another way for you to look through kind of how your brand is being perceived, but take it with a pinch of salt, because it may be custom to either your history or your location, is through predictive search. And here we have, is brand blank? And in this instance, again, I stuck to Anchor. So is Anchor a good brand? Perhaps, okay, let's test that one, because I'm lazy and I don't want to take you through the entire list of queries. So can you guess which one came on top? Which website? Which website? Yes, Reddit. I know. Reddit is everywhere. But although Reddit is everywhere, Anchor were really good and they were on top of it, and they made sure that they went into that particular Reddit thread and that they commented back on any instances where the brand was being perceived negatively, so that they could overcome that bias. And furthermore, there was also, people also asked SERP features, which gave us answers from the Anchor community, and right underneath there, the other question was directly from Apple's accessories from the US. Again, owning that SERP and making sure that they have full control. When it comes to building a brand, it's important to make sure that you don't jump on every trend, because as much as it's tempting to go after nothing beats a Jet2 holiday right now, because according to data from Talkwalker, there's a negative sentiment to actually going viral. So you can go after those trends, but they need to resonate with your brand values and what you're trying to get across. So make sure that you align that. And I wanted to give you several key takeaways when it comes to measuring the branded impact, either for you or like a competitor, anything that you want to look into. And I want to start off with something that you could implement on your own, like website, so long as you have the Google Search Console data. And it's a lovely Looker Studio dashboard, which is created by Leida Solis, who runs SEO FOMO. And you could simply plug in your Google Search Console into that, and that will split branded versus non-branded traffic for you. In addition to that, I want to recommend a tool by Dan Petrovic at reviews.djan.ai, which gives you the ability to either type in the name of your brand or the website into the tool, and that will basically split into positive, negative, and neutral sentiment. In addition to that, we also have Also Asked, which is a fantastic tool. And Also Asked gives you the ability to look at the number of queries which are being asked in like a fan out way, and then see what the follow-up query is. And by making sure that you have sufficient content to target those particular questions and answer them, not necessarily directly, but within the topics that you're covering, you can make sure that if those questions get asked, you're there and you have the control over your brand message. We have heard a lot about new ways of also tracking visibility across LLMs, and one way of doing that is through a tool called PKI. So PKI gives you the ability to look at where you're placed across a variety of platforms like ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini. And you could look at your competitors and make sure that you're targeting the right content, that you have everything in place. And you could also look at tracking specific queries and where you're positioned, as well as what the top sources are. And earlier, Dixon talked about Wakey, what AI knows about you. And I just wanted to add one more thing, that Wakey gives you the ability to actually look at Gemini and query fan out, whereby once you've asked a specific prompt, you could then see what the therefore make sure that you have content for the entire user journey. Now more than ever, it's time for us to embrace change, because we're right here as the early adopters. And for now, I want to leave you with one message. Keep it on brand. Thank you all so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure. Please feel free. Thank you. Have a lovely rest of your day. Thank you.
Wait, do you want free ice cream, or do you want to know the latest in how search behaviour is changing? If it's the latter, download Search Pulse by Reflect Digital. Get that now.
Monthly reporting making you want to shove sharp things up your nose? Try Dragon Metrics, the all-in-one SEO software with mind-blowing reporting tools.
You've got two blind spots, keyword rankings and LLM visibility. Now, most tools solve one, but AccuRanker solves both. See how at booth number 18.
Demand Sphere. Limitless visual insights from the SERPs. Unlimited dashboards and users. Easy to use and easy to scale your growth to new levels.